Data points are extremely important in order to make informed decisions, especially when you're managing a team. How else are you going to get better results out of that team? Provide goals for that team, whatever it is. But that should be no different for you as individuals as well. If you're not, whatever your regiment is, whether it's daily, right, however much time you guys have to commit to this, right, but for the person, right, that's giving it their all, right, if you're not regimented to where each day you're hitting your numbers, right, each week you have a goal of however many applications, each month, right, how many leads a day, are you using your tracker and client lists appropriately, and hitting those numbers and getting that volume and consistency and tracking it, you don't have the data and the feedback to improve, nor can we help you improve. But that's one side of the coin. The other is engaging with the group in classroom environments just like this and giving us feedback as to what your experience is. Now, at the end of this call, we're going to talk about some of our success stories, recent funded deals, big deals coming up, and that's all good, great, and wonderful. But the reality is, it's the few. It's the few. And we don't want it to be that way, even though the industry can be like that, right? And it's because not everybody's willing to put in the time, do the learning, whatever it is, properly qualify, whatever it is that's hanging up. But ultimately, we want to make sure that all of you are getting results. But we cannot help those that are quiet. We cannot help those that are not tracking. We need the data. We need the communication in order to ensure that you have success. Now, to fall on our sword a little bit, as we're a young company growing, right, we can better lay out a path for all of you, right, as well as milestones, achievements, quizzes, tests, different things to show you guys what you need to achieve now, tomorrow, the next day, the next quarter, whatever it is, to get to the end destination, being a real broker, not an affiliate marketer, an actual broker. What it is to manage a team of marketers, how to drive that team to provide you data, right? And then understand how to close that data. And once you have plenty of data coming in, furthermore, how to restructure and adjust, paying attention to the data points and the communication within your team structure to get results. And everybody, when you get to that point, when you're buttoned up and you have it in front of you, it's easy to understand the course ahead and what changes you need to make in order to get more leads in, more applications in, more deals funded in the month, and then you're paying it. That's how you get your consistency. That's how you up your earnings. That's how you get to a point to where you're making whatever it is you want to make, right? But before I turn it over to Gerald, and we're going to talk about some mindset stuff here, it's important for all of you to understand what it really looks like at a brokerage. So and maybe some of you have experience in sales, okay? And so you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when your boss stands up in front of you, in front of the whole room, and says, pitch me. And you sit there and go, oh boy, oh, this is going to be rough. And I have a great product, and here's why you want to buy my product. And he says, next, and goes to the next person, and your confidence, your tail goes between your legs. That's what it is to work at a real brokerage. Are you making enough calls in the day? How many applications you get in this week, this month? How many deals have you funded? Did you meet your quota? That's what it's like at a real brokerage. Not, I submitted a deal today. What's going on with that one deal? It's 2 weeks later when I'm not getting paid my commission. I'm upset or whatever it is. That's not the way it is. If you're on your own, right? If you're not here at Ion and you're operating on your own and you get 3 deals in the month, and you think that's okay, those 3 deals, you're going to give them the best customer service, and you're going to do everything for that client and treat them like gold. It's just not enough. You need the volume and consistency. Old business coming back around for a renewal, right? People you spoke to, you didn't get it done that time, but now all of a sudden they're reaching out, they need money. Who you're talking to today, what your meetings are set up for tomorrow, that real funnel. This is the stuff that it takes. So we're going to show you guys all of this stuff. But mindset is a big, 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 huge part of this. And Gerald, we brought him on for a reason. Okay. And he's got a very structured, militant mindset and the way he thinks about it with some terrific information that can help you understand how your brain functions in these situations and what kind of mindset you have to be successful. Because it's not easy. Just anybody can't do it. And the bottom line is it takes hard work. Okay? So, Gerald, can you dive in here a little bit and kind of help us understand what we should be thinking going into our day, right? And hitting these targets, hitting these numbers, why data is so important, why communication is so important?
Sure, guys. What we're trying to do is we're trying to build out a program that's beneficial for everybody. The reason that we need this data is it drives us in a direction to where we can all grow. If you're not keeping up with your data on a daily basis, basically what you're doing is you're robbing yourself of an opportunity down the road. You can't look at this business as today. You have to look at this business in a broader sense. You have to, I like the term of seeing it from a 50,000 foot view. That way you can anticipate what's coming. There's always going to be ups and downs in the market. We can't control that. But what we can control is what's right in between our two ears and how we manage everything on a daily basis. All you have to do is look at what's laid out in front of you and make a conscious decision. Make it, this is, I'm going to do this. Make that decision to where I'm going to keep up with all of the emails that I send out. I'm going to, the people that email me back, I'm going to do my follow up. I'm going to put them into my client tracker. Whenever a deal funds, I'm going to keep up with that person. Whenever they fund, you're not just going to forget about them. You're going to follow up with them. And that people love that because it's about communication. When I posted this morning about raising your standards, this is what it boils down to. You are only going to do as much as what, if your standard is just to live from paycheck to paycheck, that's all you're going to do. If your standard is to live, pay your bills most of the time, that's what you're going to do. Michael Jordan was probably one of the greatest athletes to ever lace up on an NBA court. Many of us think that he is the greatest of all time. That's open for debate, and I'm kind of kicking around what Gavin was talking about earlier on one of his videos. The reason that Michael Jordan was successful was because he didn't live by somebody else's standard. He lived by his own standard, and that standard was very, very high. He competed against himself, not other people. That's what we have to remember, guys. We're not competing against somebody else. We're competing against ourselves. If you don't care, or if you're bitching all the time about this isn't working, I want you to take a step back. You need to break that train of thought. I can give you some tips and some pointers of how to do it. And it's going to sound stupid as hell, but if you do it, you will break that chain, and you'll see things clearer, and you'll get more certainty about what's going on around you. That's, and in sales, guys, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, the main thing that you're doing is you're transferring your emotion to the client. You are certain about what you have is going to be good for the client. It's your certainty. If you don't come off as someone that sounds very certain about what you're offering, or if you've been doing this for a while and it feels like, you're not making it, you're going to bring that emotion to a call with a client with you. You have to manage that. The main way you manage that is you put yourself in a state to where you know that you have what they need. You know that it's what they need. you have to transfer that to them. And that comes by being on the phone with them, getting on a Zoom call, seeing them face to face. You can't transact with them, people. You can't. When you get into transacting, that's it. You're not building a client. You're not consulting. The only thing you're doing at that point is you're running on the little hamster wheel called life. You are out of control. You are no longer controlling what you're doing.
And let's if I may jump in for a second here, Gerald, I think that's a good place to stop, right? Because are you in control of what you're doing? And here's a reality check for everybody, okay? And you don't have to answer this question, okay? But ask yourselves the question, right? How many leads do you get in a day, a week, a month? Of those leads, how many applications actually come in? Of those applications coming in, how many of those get a qualified offer or a quote, right? And of those, how many are funding, if any at all? And then based on that data, what's it going to take for you to make money? Now, I'm willing to bet very few people on this call have the answer to those questions. And that's what we're talking about, everybody. That's what matters. Volume, numbers, data, tracking, communication. What are the pain points? How do we improve? Very, very, very important stuff. Very important stuff that we need to be paying attention to here, because everybody, it's about to get harder. It's about to get more in depth, and there's going to be less hand holding for you, for those of you that are ready, right? To where you become the center of attention on the call and whatever else. It's on you to get the deal across the finish line, because that's how it works. You don't go work at a brokerage somewhere else and then get an email, send an email address blast out, right? And then everything's done for you, and then you get paid. You're certainly not, you won't get a 60% commission anywhere else you go, period. The bet you get 20, 25 if they're generous. The good ones get 30, 35. That's it. Okay? Now, you've got to attack here. You got to pay attention to what we're talking about. So to go back to communication for a moment. Communicating not just well with your clients, right? But with each other, right? With your team leaders, right? And then if you're leading a team, your team. Communicating with them. Are they communicating back with you? We've all worked in an office before. We know if there's no communication, it's not going to happen. You know, it's like if you watch a sports team out on the court, the field, the ice, whatever it is, right? At the end of the day, if it's quiet out there, it's a mess. They need to be yelling at each other, talking to each other, working together. The team that's more vocal is usually the team that wins. You know, it's the same thing over here at ION. We have to work together. We have to be vocal. So let's do that. You guys have heard enough from myself. You've heard enough from Gerald, right? And we'll respond to these questions and your responses. But we want to hear from you, right? Now, in the past, we asked people to speak up. And though we have our usual customers who are happy to talk, and Steve Eidman, for instance, we love having you, Steven. You're one of the guys that are willing to just jump right up and say hello. And we need more of that from the whole group. So I'm going to call out your name, ask you a little bit about the experience, and ask you what you think your strengths are, your weaknesses, and what your goals are, right? What successes you've had, what struggles you've had, and let's get some real feedback going. Let's get everybody talking here.